Hi. Oh my gosh, I want to apologize. I'm running a little behind today. Woo. But I'm here, boobalicious. Super boobalicious. But I am so excited. I'm going to actually turn. I feel like this fan is like yelling at me. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited, you guys. Welcome to Sexy Confidence. It feels like this has been a lifetime in the making to create this experience. So I'm beside myself right now, to be honest with you. So yeah, welcome. So goodness. Okay, so it's funny because creating this event, I was like, hi, Franklin. It's so nice to see you. So creating this event, I will say I just made a post about this where I was like, who am I as a career coach to come in and talk about some sexy confidence, right? But it's just on my heart. I was like, I can't not do this with you guys. So okay, I have some notes here. I'm trying to pull them up, but it's proving to be a little bit wonky. Okay, so I will every now and then kind of check the comments, but for now I can't really see them. So we're just gonna go. Okay, so oh my gosh, so in this session today, I really, my goal with this is I wanted to just create this really I was overwhelmed. Let's start with there. I was a little overwhelmed because sexy confidence, it's such a big topic, and I know that the two words in themselves can feel a little bit triggering. Right? I know that these words sometimes can feel a little triggering, and so I really, in this session today, I want to help create a new relationship with these words, right? I want to come in and obviously make it a little sexy, right? Make it fun. I want it to be also educational, right? I want to help you tap into sexy confidence in a different way. So, and I will say everything that I'm going to be diving into in this session today is just a small part of what I'm going to be covering in my upcoming program. And so I'll just clearly say I don't want there to be any surprises, but I'm going to be sharing at the very end this new opportunity that I'm so excited to be able to invite you guys into. And so just a heads up. So in the chat, what I'd love to do is I would love to know what inspired you to be part of this experience today? What about the idea of sexy confidence, these words, this idea, what inspired you to be part of this experience? So if you wouldn't mind sharing in the chat, I think it would be amazing to hear. Hi, Brittany. Oh my gosh, it's so fun to see your guys' names in there. But yeah, anybody that wants to share in the chat, please feel free. I would love to know. Because I know it's different for everybody. And in the things you guys filled out, the questionnaires, I know that it was a little bit, everybody kind of had their own reasons and that were really personal to them. So I thought that was really amazing. So, and some of them were similar, right? So you'll see, if anybody wants to share, you'll see that you're probably more alike than not. So anyways, so why does this even matter? Why does sexy confidence even matter? So what I will say is that, it's different for everybody, but maybe let's say maybe you want to be a coach and, maybe a business owner. Maybe you want to be somebody who's so confident in what you teach that, you feel like you're able to rub off on others, right? You feel like your confidence kind of bleeds into others. Maybe you're just sick of being in your own way. Maybe you're just like, man, if I could just get out of my own head and create the life of my dreams, I would just feel so much happier, right? I would feel unstoppable. Maybe you're just like, I just want life at home to feel a little sexier. Maybe you just want to spice up your home life and schmexy it up, right? Well, all of this, no matter your reason, all of this is confidence. And when you can own your worth, you not only are going to ooze radiance, but you're going to demand respect and become a true magnet for your desires. And something like this really, confidence, it creates a powerful life, a powerful existence in this life that you're like, man, I feel so just grateful for. Okay, Brittany, oh my gosh, I love that. You said reclamation of the divinity and prowess that is to be the divine feminine. That's so beautiful. I will say sometimes the topic of divine femininity can feel like this tough journey. It can feel like this heaviness, this resistance filled thing. And so I wanted to come in and just bring some lightness to that, right? So yeah, I love that you share that, Brittany, because it's so tied in. So just a little bit about me, you guys. So I'm sitting here. It's like so wild. Like you can't see the whole bra thing that I have going on. It looks like I just have like this bra. It's a shirt kind of. So it's so wild to be sitting here in this, just talking with you guys, because I straight up used to be the most unconfident person. I say that with all the seriousness in the world. I used to be this person who walked with like a hunchback. Like I would literally stare at the ground, and I didn't want people to see me. I didn't want to make eye contact. So I actually started to get a little bit of like a weird hunch in my back that people told me. And so I started working on that. But I used to be a huge people pleaser. I used to have tons of fear and anxiety all the time. I was always in this worst case scenario thinking. I was always kind of at what felt like the mercy of others. And I actually, because of so much anxiety, I actually had a lot of like night sweats and things, because I had so much cortisol building that at night it would just release. And so I'd wake up in these gross night sweat puddles. I didn't believe in myself at all. To the point where I would like nitpick myself, and I actually had really, really bad acne even as an adult. So there's like a long list here, right? I was jealous. I compared myself a lot to others. I was this big researcher. I was like constantly wishing and dreaming my life could be different. And so I had all these ideas, and I was looking into a lot of like researching things, but I wasn't taking any action. I was really just not like, I was afraid, or I didn't feel worthy of bringing any of it to life. So I just really never did. I was also a perfectionist, and needless to say, like my money and love life were literally like non-existent, or just not at all where I wanted it. So I just constantly had this feeling of just feeling really defeated. Is kind of where I was at in my life. And so what I will say is, like, I hit this point. At some point, I think what happens in any person's journey who's feeling is this desire to be more confident, who wants to just come into just so much more than your current circumstances. You kind of hit this breaking point where you're like, I just don't want to be this anymore, right? You're like, I don't want this life anymore. I want to be something different. So what I personally started to do was I hit that breaking point, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna model after others. I'm just gonna look at other people who are confident, who kind of seem to ooze and radiate that from my perspective. So I'm gonna start emulating that. And so that was kind of how I started getting out of my own kind of stuck bubble. But what I will say is that also took me far away from myself, right? Because I was trying so hard to be like other people. But it gave me a place to start. It gave me a place to start and uplift myself out of my current circumstance. So, I don't necessarily, that wasn't necessarily a key point I wanted to make on this, but I will say if part of you is feeling really, really stuck and really down, and like you're like, God, I'm so far from where I want to be, I do encourage you to start really analyzing, who are you looking to in life right now? Like, who are the people that you are seeing in your orbit all the time? And if you can have more of that confidence radiating around you, it's going to give you it's going to help you, really tap into that a little bit more for yourself too. So that's one thing you can do. But I want to say, so a big part of why this was so needed, I felt like this conversation was so needed, is because also as I was getting the feedback form from you guys, I asked you, on a level of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, where do you fit on this confidence scale? Like, where would you rate yourself? And to be honest, a lot of people rated themselves on an average of 3 to 6 or 7 out of 10. And I honestly went in there and I was like, I even wrote a 10 in there, because I was like, I need to see a 10 in this thing. But everybody was like, 7 was a couple of them, but it was mostly 3s to 6s. And so I want to say, like, everything I just shared about kind of how I used to be, I would love if you feel comfortable in the chat, kind of sharing, maybe where you are on the confidence scale, and, maybe why you would rate yourself that way. Again, to just help each other understand that, we're all more similar than different. And, and to just kind of create a conversation around that, because I don't even know if I would have put myself on the scale for a really long time. Like, I would have been like, oh, the word confidence, like, that's not me at all. So I'm not judging. So please, if you feel comfortable, please feel free to share this. I think it would be really impactful to see, what number you place yourself at. Yes, Giselle, continue to build confidence in your own skin, sensuality, and sexuality. I love that. I love that. So yeah, we're gonna dive into it. But yeah, I just wanted to start by just sharing a little bit on just the beginning of really to get to a confidence journey, to get to where you want to be in a more confident state. You really do start in a place that's anything but. You really start. I swear, anybody that is really confident now, like, they started in a place, I bet you, that wasn't. You're not usually starting out the gate, out the womb, super confident. So you got to go through this, right? You got to go through the slough a little bit to get to that other side. So to have the understanding of the contrast of being a not confident person, so then you can feel more confident and more appreciative and full of gratitude, which we'll dive in, right, are the underlying things of it. But anyways, so just keep in mind too, whatever number you put in that part of the feedback form, or that you might share in the group today, know that your number is not fixed, and it can change the moment that you decide it will. You just have to take the steps to create the change. So for me, honestly, when I started diving into confidence and like feeling like really dedicating myself to this confidence journey, right? It was game changer. Confidence literally is everything. And I'll explain it deeper, right? But it's so important. It really changed the game for me. It got me to a place where now, I've now created 2 businesses. I write like, oh, I had the audacity to start 2 businesses, but I'm talking about the girl who literally didn't even want to raise her hand in class. I would get so red hot from sharing my ideas, to then starting 2 businesses with like no money. Right? Like, not really. I had some money for my first one because I left a 6-figure job and whatever. But my second one, I didn't really get to pay myself much in my first business. So I was really working with not a lot. And so, but I've been able to do it to where I've now left corporate and I don't need to go back. Like, because I'm telling you, because of confidence. I moved across the country, and I'm now like a nomad living in some of the biggest cities in the country. So much has opened up for me because I started stepping into really the truth of who I am. I left. I was even like, this is where I say confidence. It's so much more than just like affirmations and feeling good about yourself, right? It can change every single aspect of your life when you understand it deeper. And so that's what started happening to me and for me, right? I started feeling like, what, I deserve so much more than what I have right now. So like in the different relationships I was in, yes, it took me a few trial and errors to find the love of my life that I'm in now, but I was in these relationships that were just, I felt like I was settling the whole time, but I had let myself stay there for longer than I needed to because I felt like my internal self didn't feel really worthy, or I was afraid if I let go, there would be nothing on the other side. So I didn't want to be alone. And it was really, these negative places that I was in. But through this confidence journey, I found the ability to stand up for myself, to go for more, right? To leave those relationships that were okay, but not great. Right? And also, like, it was a whole body thing, right? Like, my skin cleared up. I lost a ton of weight that I could like manage on a consistent basis, right? When before, like, my weight just always kind of felt like this battle of like, I'd feel great in the morning and then later in the day I'd feel like, ugh, I'd feel like, wow, it's not how I felt this morning and stuff. And so I just started, everything started changing, including friendships, right? And then also on top of that, I also created multiple women's empowerment groups, podcasts, 2 books, right? And so I want to go deeper with you guys. I say all of that, I share all of that, not to brag, although I think us women could brag some more. We really could brag a little bit more in this country, or just as women in general. But I share all of this because I want you to understand that for me, confidence has been such a game changer in literally every single aspect of my life, and it goes so much deeper than what meets the eyes. And so that's really what these next 2 days are about, is I want to go deeper with you gals, and I want to help you understand how to really change the narrative for yourself, help you change the narrative for yourself in your life. When it comes to confidence, it is so important, because not only can it create like the life of your dreams, but also like when women aren't confident, I actually forgot to write these statistics down, but when women aren't confident, what happens is a lot of like physical health stuff comes into play. This is where you see a lot of people have like breast cancer and illnesses and all these different sickness is related to just the related to like, gosh, like lack of joy, just not loving of the self. It can create tangible stuff like that, and so it's super important to really love the self, show up different for yourself. It's more important than just tangible, like manifesting things, right? It's about health and safety and feeling like we can trust as we move about the world in our bodies and in the things that we want to create. So it's super important. But I actually pulled up a couple. I was writing out a couple phrases that I thought would really resonate. Right, there's a lot of popular phrases that people say when they think of what confidence is. Right, a lot of people will be like, okay, look good, feel good, dress for success, love the skin you're in, fake it till you make it. There's a lot of talk around like affirmations and mirror work, and this is literally what people say confidence is. So in the chat, I would actually love to hear in your mind what you feel confidence even is, because we're like sexy confidence, what you think that is. Because I know there's a lot of talk around like these phrases being it, right? And there's a reason why so many are constantly searching for it, because there is kind of that disconnect. So we don't really understand it. So if you guys want to share, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, you're a 7 to 8 because of current circumstances within your marriage brought your confidence level a bit lower than where it was a few months ago. And I'm so sorry to hear that, Giselle. But I will still say 7 to 8 is pretty high. So you're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good. But that's tough. And if you feel safe to share, you're always more than welcome to. This is a safe community to openly share, right, what's coming up for us. But please feel free. Please feel free to share that. But also know, like, my heart is with you, because I swear, when relationship stuff is going tough, it can really get to us. It can really bring us down. So yeah, I feel for you on that. But yeah, so all of those things I just shared, right? All of the those popular phrases and just things like affirmations, mirror work, they sound good, but what's happening is they're focusing on the external to trick the internal. But what happens is when you're thinking of it in that way, where it has to be, it's all about making the internal state different, what's happening is you're keeping the separation. And confidence, what confidence really is, you guys want to know the actual secret, is it's about blending your inner and outer worlds together. So you have cohesion and congruence in your life. It is this alignment, aka alignment. So it's not just about the outer appearance, right? Like, yes, I'm here wearing this big like booby shirt, but it's not even about that. It's because I feel so good internally that externally I'm matching that, right? It's this congruency, this alignment. And so what happens is when we are saying one thing and then expressing or feeling another, what's happening is we are out of alignment and we are betraying ourselves. We're suppressing. And so when you do that, it can make you feel really, we always know when we're doing this. We always know, right? Because afterwards we're like, oh gosh, like I just feel down, right? Your energy changes, right? So it's important. Confidence, true confidence, is really being in that congruence and alignment with your inner and outer worlds. And so the more you can do that, the more you can do that, the more confident you will feel. So I'm going to dive deeper into this, but I also want to say that alignment, when I say you're trying to get confidence equals true inner and outer world alignment, I'm not saying that means you're trying to be happy all the time. That's not it at all. The most confident people I know, and when I'm my most confident, is when I'm honoring my emotions and myself exactly as I need to, exactly as it needs to be said, right? Because if I wasn't feeling like this today, I'd probably be wearing something different, right? But I'm feeling energized, and I did the work to feel like this today, right? So this is my way of showing externally my internal energy and my internal feelings. But you're allowed to feel. So you're allowed to not feel good all the time. You don't need that permission slip, but I'm going to give it to you. But what is true alignment and true, aka confidence, is when you honor yourself unapologetically. You unapologetically honor your emotions. You honor how you feel. You speak what you feel. You don't hold back, right, to make others comfortable. You say what needs to be said. When you're feeling, when you're feeling sad, you honor it, right? When you're feeling happy, you honor it and express it. When you're feeling frustrated and overwhelmed, you do things to really connect with that, right? You don't just say, I'm fine. You don't use the F word. You really connect. You really connect, and and when you do that, what happens is actually you start to feel better more often, because emotions are just delayed. They're just not delayed reactions, but their emotions are an after effect of action. And so when we're doing and being ways that actually aren't true to who we are, what happens is our emotions later that catch up with us feel really like they can be more undesirable than we want. And so the way you start to feel better more often is you start to honor the emotions that you're feeling. You start to honor the emotions that you're feeling more often, and you get really honest and real with yourself. And it's hard at first, right? It's uncomfortable to be really freaking honest. It's uncomfortable to say, wow, I'm feeling crap today, and I'm gonna actually allow myself to move through that. I'm not gonna just smile at everybody. I'm not gonna show up great today sometimes, right? You've got to really honor that. And when you do that, the domino effect of that is that your emotions actually start to change. They start to feel better because you're like, wow, I'm like really on my team. I'm really here for myself. I feel great. I feel better being here, being on, showing up for myself. So then what happens is you start to feel less guilty taking up space. You start to feel more worthy of being present. You start to be excited about, what's coming up for you, because you're like, oh, I know I'm just building a relationship with myself. And so I say all this saying, like, yes, honor your emotions, right? Feel everything fully, because when you do that, you start to feel better more often, right? But I also want to say, this is not to say that emotional intelligence is not super important in this equation, right? You're doing this work because the goal is you want to start to feel more like your emotions are more calm more often, right? Like that's the goal. You want to be detached from the intense waves of life, right? You don't want to be so riding those waves so intense, right? The goal really is to be a little bit more neutral in your emotions, right? Because you create your happiness and fulfillment and joy. So the goal is really you're always here, right? But as you're doing the work, right, as you're doing your work to get to this place, the emotions are going to come. There's going to be a lot that comes through for you to acknowledge and work through. And so it's important to honor them as they do. It's important to feel them fully, right? We spend so much time, as women especially, I really feel we spend so much time when these undesirable emotions pop up, we spend so much time wishing they were different instead of just being in them, that we end up adding a lot more resistance and kind of elongating that more miserable experience. And so what happens is when you elongate that and you wish your emotions were different, what happens is you literally repel your desires. You literally end up repelling your desires. You push them so far away from yourself because you're not allowing the bliss to come from the other side. You're not allowing yourself to work through it and release some stuff that would happen if you would sit in it and own it, right? Part of being a confident, fearless, unapologetic woman is that you own your emotions unapologetically. You do not apologize for feeling them, and when you feel them, you name them, you give them space, and then the more you do that, the more you start to feel like, wow, like you feel embodied in power, because you're like, well, I'm not afraid to feel, and then the more you feel, the more you start to change your relationship with the feelings and the emotions that are coming up. And you start to say, wow, like I'm actually really powerful. My emotions are actually serving me. There's actually a lot of intelligence in those emotions. And you start to actually, your dynamic with your emotions changes. And And it's actually, you realize, you're like, wow, it's actually really a gift. And then you look forward to them. And then, yeah, and so there's so much more there. But I get into this, so yes, and I would love to know if anybody has any questions so far, because I know I'm kind of like diving deep into a lot of this stuff. Confidence to me is when you feel whole and complete as an individual, so that everything else aligns. Yes. So yes. So I love that. So it's all about really talking too about how do we get to that feeling of being whole and complete. And part of how you do that, right, is you start to get really honest about the emotions that create the wholeness of who you are, right? We're not just these people that have one emotion at a time, or we're not just people that have, like our goal is to be happy all the time, right? It's really honoring, like, wow, like today the whole version of me feels this, and saying, what is that, and getting curious about that. But another way we do that, right, when we feel the emotions fully and all the way through, how do we do that, right? To really honor ourselves and be more in that alignment. This is where, when I say the sexy confidence, this is where the sexy part comes in. And this is part of the inspiration, and this is part of why everything that I'm talking about when it comes to becoming an embodied, confident, unapologetic woman, fierce woman, is because this is not stuff that I've ever really talked about before. But this is the true secrets, right? We all actually know this intuitively as women. I really believe that. But sometimes we need these reminders to bring them, out. So to be an embodied, full, like, confident woman, it cannot just stay internally. It cannot just be about making your mindset empowered, feeling worthy, all these things, because there is an element of disbelief in that. Because we've got to get our body to really believe the things that we're saying in order for us to act accordingly and show up, right? So it's got to be a mind and body experience. And when we bring our bodies involved, what's happening is we're fully accepting us in the having a human experience. We're not discounting. For a long time, I felt like confidence, what meant that I was going to be really confident is if I just like ignored the external, and I was like, okay, so if I ignore the external, that means that I actually care about what matters, and I'm not being materialistic in things. So so I actually resisted wanting to, like, get dolled up. I resisted shopping. I resisted being a girl, being a feminine being. I resisted it because I was like, oh no, but that's not what matters. That's not what's supposed to matter. But when I started becoming a really confident woman, there was still part of me that felt like something was missing. And it felt like there was still a little bit of like an emptiness inside. And I finally tapped into this idea of, oh my gosh, it's because I've been completely denying my body. Because also, as women, there can be a lot of shame, right? Way too many of us have had Me Too stories, and stories of, not really getting a say in things with our body, and being used and abused and hurt, and there's so much there, right? We all know. But there's a lot of shame. And so hiding ourselves can feel like the safest thing to do. But when we do that, we literally are giving away part of our power. We're giving away part of our life force. And when we do that, we subconsciously are telling ourselves we're not worthy of being seen. And for any of you that want to be coaches, that want to be out in the world more, that have a mission or something on your heart that you want the world to know, if you're afraid to be seen, then what's happening is you're denying the world of your gifts, and you're denying yourself of your power. You're completely not giving you're putting a ceiling on your life. This is why when I'm working with women and we're talking about, okay, like, we're going to help you move into your career, like the career of your dreams, and we're going to, help you climb the ladder, or we're going to help you start a business, right? I'm not just talking about like career and resumes and LinkedIn and optimization and interview prep, right? Yes, that's part of it. But a big part of it is I'm talking about, how do you see yourself? Do you feel worthy? Have you looked at yourself in the mirror? Do you love what you see? What's your relationship with yourself? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you're avoiding yourself physically, then that energy is going out into the world as well, and it's keeping you from the abundance that I know that we all want, right? And so when I started stepping into really owning my sexuality, really owning my sensuality, because it's not all about sexuality. Yes, my boob shirt probably says otherwise, but it's not. It's not. It's about embracing yourself as a feminine being and honoring what that means, because it's very different than masculine. It is very different than masculine beings and what they need in the world. So what I will tell you is, if you're going about your journey, you're feeling a lot of self-doubt, you're feeling defeated, you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling not enough, all those feelings that can bubble to the surface when we're going for more. What's happening is that means you are being stuck in your head, right? You're being really stuck in your head. You got to get your body involved. And a lot of times what happens is confidence. It can have a very masculine energy associated to it. It means, a lot of times we think it means like doing more and really being in the same place and kind of speed as men. And so we can say very cerebral and logical with everything, kind of not wanting to get the body involved, because it's like, oh, well, if I'm feeling frustrated, it just means I need to do more. I need to do more because that's what I see equals success, right? That's kind of this masculine energy to it. But what allows you to, especially women, we're just different. We gotta honor that. And so, so true embodied confidence as a woman, being in alignment not only with how she's thinking and feeling, but also in alignment with the fact that you are a feminine being. Honoring the fact that you are a feminine being and being in alignment with what that means. So from here, I really want to encourage a lot of you to start diving deep into what that means for you. I'm going to go into it a little bit more tomorrow, but I've got some more stuff for you today on it. So being a feminine woman, acknowledging that, right, and starting to align that in your everyday, not ignoring that part of you, right, is going to allow you to amplify things. And as women, why that's so important, why the feminine aspect is a lot within our within acknowledging our bodies, is because as women we have a deep ability on a different level than men to feel. We are meant to be feeling, receiving beings, right? We've got our intuition is all part of how you connect with your body. Your intuition is your compass. It's your guide. Your body, within that is your wisdom, your intelligence, right? There's so much that our bodies want to gift to us, and if you completely deny that part of yourself, then you're missing out on such a big part of life. And there's ways to acknowledge it, that you acknowledge it by emphasizing, by paying attention to your body, loving on your body, bringing a new awareness and consciousness into your body than you maybe did in the past, right? It's when we're trying to create and bring results into our life, we've got to bring in these spicy elements to our life, right? You've got to bring in some sassiness. You got to romanticize your life, turn on your life, because that is what our feminine essence is craving. That's what she's craving. And so whatever that looks like for you, right? You don't got to wear a booby shirt. I love this thing. I just got this. I love it. But you don't got to wear a booby shirt. You can do so many other things. And so that's what I want to give you guys, some ideas on how you can build a little bit different relationship with yourself that incorporates acknowledging your body in the process. So, and I'm not just talking about going to the gym, going on a mental health walk, taking a yoga class. Yes, that stuff is super juicy and important, and please do it. One of my favorite things at the end of a busy day is a yin yoga class where it's just holding long elongated poses. You're just holding these poses for like 5 minutes at a time, and you're just sinking in deeper and deeper to yourself, and that feels so good. And so yes, those practices are really amazing. But what I'm talking about on this with bringing awareness into your body is also where a little bit more taboo elements come in. So this is where I'm not talking about just those things, right? I'm talking about building a relationship with yourself, seeing yourself. So a couple things you guys can try if you want to write them down. So I want you to, first and foremost, this is going to game change your life. This is an exercise. I'm not going to repeat this after this. This is an exercise I want you to try. I want you to get a mirror. And I want you to look at your woman downstairs. I want you to come up with a name for her, right? I've been reading the book Pussy, A Reclamation by Regina Thomas-Sauer, and it's been opening my world in a whole different way. And this is an exercise actually from her book. And she says, take a mirror and literally look at your, well, I don't want to, she says pussy, but I know for some people that doesn't feel great to hear that word, but just literally take a mirror and you look at yourself down there, and you hold the gaze. You literally look until you can start to feel your empowerment bubbling inside. I actually sat in a bath last week, or a couple weeks ago, and I tried it out really for the first time. And I sat in a bath and I just held the mirror and I just looked at myself down there. And at first, nothing was really happening, but after a couple minutes, I started to feel this empowerment kind of surging through my body. And I started to acknowledge a part of myself that's literally like a power source. It is a power source. And I actually said, hello, gorgeous. That was actually something she recommended to do, was actually acknowledge it through saying hello, gorgeous, or hi, or like speaking to it, right? Building a connection with a big part of you that is so, so important to your livelihood, to your wellness. And I really believe if more women even just did this, if you got nothing else from this conversation today and just did that, you would feel like a different woman. You can't not feel like a different woman after that. You just can't. Yeah, you could say vagina. I know that's anatomically incorrect, but you could say that. Whatever works for you is right. And so that's one exercise. Another thing is, this is super powerful. Looking at yourself naked. For whoever's just joining, welcome. So another exercise you can do is really standing in a mirror, like clothesless, right? Take everything off and just see yourself. And what I want you to do is I want you to, from head to toe, I want you to stare more than you want to, right? And I want you to find something beautiful or something that you appreciate about each body part as you scan, right? Because when I did this actually recently, I got to my stomach and I actually started to cry because I was like, wow, every time I've looked at my stomach, almost my entire life, I've looked at it with hatred. I've wished it was different. I've just been upset at it. I didn't even know. I was just always like unconsciously just kind of saying stuff to it and like wishing it was different. And for the first time, I saw my stomach. And that sounds weird to say because it's part of my body, right? But it was the first time that I saw my stomach. And I just wept, and I was like, wow, like I love myself, and for the first time I love my stomach. Now I will say I've been working, I've done a lot of work on my body and all these things in the way that I want it to look, but it's past that. It's past that. I was looking at it and I was like, wow, like she's done so much for me. Like I have a womb in there, and I don't have kids. I will say I don't have kids, but I have a womb in there, and I just started to appreciate this part of me that I had been either just ignoring, trying not to look, and just shaming it. But now I wear a lot of like belly shirts, and I'm like, who is this girl? But it's because I started seeing, I started acknowledging, and before you know it, I started to fall in love with this part of myself and feel really proud of how much it's done for me. It's been through a lot. I mean, I have had so many stomach problems over the last couple of years. It's been really, really painful. That's been it's interesting, right? The things that I would actually be curious to know if any of you feel like there's any parts that maybe you've been like shaming, not knowing, and then you've had physical symptoms later. I'm gonna bet anything it's connected to the self-talk you've had around that. That's a big part of it. A book actually you guys can check out. It's called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, and it is one of the most empowering books because it also says there's a glossary in the back of that book. There's also a book that's just the glossary called You Can Heal Your Body, and that glossary talks about how every part of your body is information. It's talking to you. It has a message for you, right? And so if there's a part of your body that's causing pain or whatever, it has a message, and so that book will tell you what that message is. So it's really, really, really empowering when you think about it like that. But over the years, right, I was so mean to my stomach, and then I started having all these stomach problems that nobody had answers for. And then I started doing emotional healing work, and I started loving myself, and that's really the thing that got me diving deep into my self-confidence on another level and realizing, oh my gosh, it's a body experience too. It can't just be mental. And then I started to heal that, and I don't have pain anymore. And so it's been incredible, this journey. So confidence goes so much deeper, and that was it's a big part of what I want to teach you guys. So anyways, another thing you can try, sensual massages. Now when I say sensual, again, this does not mean sexual. Sensual, it's about the senses. Sensual, you can do this, honestly, a sensual massage does not have to be you're like slowly massaging your body. It can be like slowly enjoying the senses, right? Because we are humans that have 5, 6 senses, maybe more. That's a different topic for a different day. The senses in your body, right? Like really lingering in the fact that you can touch things, really lingering in the fact that you can see things, holding a gaze on something and seeing it in a new way. Like even this wall, I'm like, oh, this wall, like I didn't notice it had this little thing over here. Really lingering in your senses, creating a sensual experience out of just your moment, right? Like touching the fabric of your clothes differently. Smelling, like sometimes I'll literally just go to the candle aisle and I look crazy probably, but I'll grab a candle and I will literally just like smell it for a second. If it's one that smells really good, I'll sit there and I'll just like linger in that because I'm like, this is so nice, and I'll just have these little moments. Or when you're eating, try this, you guys. When you're eating, try taking a couple bites with your eyes closed, having some conscious eating. You will taste that food so differently. You will have like this sensation within your taste buds that's like, wow, like this is just bread, but it tastes so different, and you'll feel so much more fulfilled in these little moments when you linger in them and you have these sensual experiences. And yes, how does this tie into confidence? It's really about understanding that being a confident being is fully accepting every single part of the beingness that you are. And these are ways you do it. I'm also talking about picking a couple songs and dancing, right? This isn't just to like have fun and release. It's to fully feel all of your emotions. It's to pick songs that match how you're feeling and to just move it by asking your body, how does it need to move, and moving it and giving it a try. It's about taking yourself on some dates and like I said, romanticizing your life, adding some luxury into your everyday, right? It doesn't have to mean you spend $1 bajillion going out to dinner for yourself or taking yourself on a shopping spree. It just means like you're going to dress up a little bit and go on a walk. And you're going to move slow because you're like, I'm with myself. There's no rush. I'm just being, right? It's flirting more. Women, oh my gosh, you guys, flirting doesn't mean you're cheating, and it doesn't mean you're doing it with the intention of like, bringing another person into your life sexually, romantically. It means that women are feminine, fun, flirty beings, and the more energized a woman is about her life, the more flirty and fun she is, and how much she wants to kind of joke around with the people in her field. So the more you're flirty and fun with life, like, right, like I was just flirty with like the door guy. I just smiled big at him recently. I was just so like grateful that he opened the door. And it was fun. And so just having that energy in life, right? Another thing is making your house, you can make your house look nice for you. Not just when company's over, but right, treating your house like the container that a queen deserves to be in, right? Really getting it ready as if the most important person is arriving. You are the most important person. That's you. So maybe you spice it up a little bit. You put some candles on. You put some nice, like one of my favorite things to do is I'll just put the TV on YouTube and I'll find these like really nice like frequency videos and I'll just put them on. They have really nice visuals. I'll do like sacral chakra frequencies and it's super calming. I feel like I'm at a spa. Nothing else has changed. Maybe the laundry's still everywhere and the dishes need to be done and whatever. But the vibe is so good. And I did it for myself. And it feels so good. So just doing these things with the intention of doing it for you, right? Adding some romantic sensuality, fun vibes to your life. It's amazing how much when you do that, even though that has nothing to do with career, that has nothing to do with money, that has nothing to do with doing, that is being in an energy that says I'm safe and I trust and I'm protected and I'm loved and I'm guided and I can't mess this up. And when you operate in the sense of trust in that sense, you become magnetic. You bring so much back into your world. And it makes it so that the doing later is more effortless, more fun, more enjoyable, more feels more worth your time because you feel worthy and you were like, I'm doing this because I love myself. Right? You're not doing it because you have to. You're doing it because you've been building this muscle of, ooh, I love I love being me. I love getting to know myself. Anyways, I'm kind of going off a little bit. But the last thing on this is just, as far as these tips go, is I'm really talking about on this, not only sensuality experiences, not only lingering, right? Not only treating yourself to just like a more joyous, romantic life for you, but I'm also talking about, right? It's about slowing down. Recently, a couple weeks ago, I got sick. I was in this go, 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 do mode. I had so much I was creating and doing, and I was so excited. And then a couple days into it, I got sick. And I literally don't get sick, you guys. So I really had to sit with this. I was having a really, really hard time. And I got so sick that I couldn't even sit in front of a computer. And Lord knows, I showed up and I was trying. I was trying to sit at the computer, but I started feeling really not okay. And so I was really angry. But what came out of that taught me so much. It showed me the art of surrender in a whole new way. And it showed me actually the true underlying way to be a true embodied feminine woman is that when you operate in all the ways I've just shared, right? You have this sense of trust, this deep trusting that you're safe and that you can't mess this up. What happens is you are on your own time. You're not rushed. You're not in a hurry for other people's timeline. I like to think about it as like if you're going across a crosswalk, you know how when you're going across and a car is like just sitting there, they're waiting to go or whatever, and it's your go still, but they're like, you can feel that they just want you to hurry up. So sometimes people speed up. Well, being in this like queen energy where you're just like, I don't have to worry because I'm safe and I'm protected. It's like being in that moment at the crosswalk and you're like, okay, I see you, but I'm not going to change my energy, my speed to match what you need from me. I'm going to walk in my own pace in my own time. And that's kind of the energy that I'm talking about. It's like, yes, moving, right? Like showing up like in ways that are going to allow you to feel like you're showing up for your life, but doing it in a way that's not full of anxiety, stress, timelines are like weighing over your head. Or you don't have to operate like that because there's no need to rush. So another thing too is that with confidence, we can be so lacking in it because it's like the external things oftentimes are what create confidence, right? It's a lot of like we're waiting for certain moments to happen and then we can experience joy and then we're like, oh, okay, all is well in the world. But what I want you to know is that you can experience. So joy is not a reward. It doesn't have to be a reward or an afterthought. Joy is in the, a lot of times it's like something people say they don't have time for. But what I really want you to think about is joy being something that is, joy can happen now. It can happen in every moment. It can happen, you can create it anytime you want. And the more joy you have in these sensual pleasures, these connections with our body, the more you're saying, I have a full acceptance of myself and a full trust in who I am. And that is the formula for confidence. It's this full knowing, it's this alignment, it's this, life is just good, this feeling. You can create that. Also, how you create that in your moments, let's say you're super frustrated and you're like, okay, I'm trying to be this aligned, confident, trusting, slowed down being, but life is happening right now, right? Well, what you do in these moments is you focus on the gratitude. You focus on counting, literally count gratitudes. Your goal, if you're not feeling confident, you're not feeling excited, you're feeling kind of discouraged, your goal is to get to a better feeling place. That's the goal first. You focus on how you do that, and then you take action. And that's truly how I've been able to take really confident action throughout this like entrepreneurship journey. Is I don't try to do all the things and be super confident when I'm not feeling like that. Right? You got to get honest with yourself. This is kind of tying everything in. It's getting honest with yourself, meeting yourself where you're at, honoring the emotions that you're feeling as you have them, processing them by bringing the body involved, right? And then saying, okay, so now that I'm meeting myself where I'm at, I've given myself the space to feel. Okay, now I can feel a little bit better. And then when you do that, then it's like, okay, then I got this. And a way that you maintain that is just, if you want to start getting the wheel rolling to make the emotions feel better, to flip it for yourself, you really count the gratitudes. I don't care how low a vibe you are, you can find something to be grateful for. Whenever there's been moments in my business where it feels like it's not working, and I feel like, God, like when are things going to change? Right? I've had that so many times in this entrepreneurship journey. What has literally taken me from feeling really depressed and in a hole and like, who am I to do this, to, oh my gosh, watch out world, like I'm not slowing down, the world needs to see me, right? To that energy. What happened is I shifted. I decided I didn't want to feel sorry for myself. I didn't want to feel like a victim in my life. I didn't want to feel like that anymore. I felt I did my grieving and I wanted to move on. And then I literally focused on what was going right. So much can be, it's so easy. It's so easy to tell ourselves what's going wrong. It's so easy to feel sorry for ourselves. One of the bravest things you can do is go on the journey to be a confident woman, because it is having to reprogram yourself. It is having to change your entire normal way of being, right? It is not easy. So I want to also tell you, ladies, as you're going through this journey, be kind to yourself, right? Know that this is you building a new muscle. So just take in what I'm saying, right? And give little things at a time a try. Try these things on, right? It's not going to feel amazing right away. It's not going to be normalized right away. You just got to be willing to take these steps. And one really great way to do that is just kind of what I was talking about, was just count the gratitudes. Focus on really shifting, like meeting yourself where you're at and saying, okay, so I want to feel better than this. That's my first goal. And then moving from there. And when you do that, it is literally going to create massive results really quickly, to be honest with you. And it's not always like your goal is you want to feel good, right? But when you do that, life is like, yay, I want to give you more. And so it just brings so much to you. So actually, I'm going to give you guys, so recently actually the last like few months, I've been really diving into adding really just acknowledgement of my body in my morning routine. So I started kind of changing things up, because I really wanted to just be like before I taught any of this, you guys, I wanted to be like kind of a guinea pig for myself. And I wanted to see like, does this really work? Because I kind of for a long time was a little bit of a skeptic, and a little bit like, I just don't know if like bringing your body in the picture like does a lot. And I even was somebody who, I did dance for a really long time. I did pole dance for like 4 years, tons of like stuff that I wish, like going back, I wish I would have known this stuff and been more intentional with it. But anyways, so I started changing up my morning routine to kind of bring my body involved, just to see, how that would change my day. And I want to say before I say this, I don't have kids. I don't have kids, so really like don't feel like you have to do all these things, right? Make it your own. Don't feel like, like I get up earlier to do some of this stuff, right? But like I don't have kids. So it's a little bit of a different story for me, but it doesn't mean you can't add in a couple things throughout your day. One example, there was a day where I decided that I was like, okay, so I'm going to try all the things. And I like danced for a couple songs. I took a short bath instead of a shower. I got out of the shower and I was like, oh yeah, okay, look at my body. And I stood in the mirror naked, and I just stared at myself when I did the, find the gratitudes, the appreciation for every part of my body, really acknowledged it. And I was probably like on my period that day, so a little bit more bloated than normal. So I was really all in. And then after that, I just actually had a really interesting experience. I was already kind of in this intention, right, of like, I'm bringing my body in, I'm bringing consciousness to my body. And so when I got out of the shower and I started, looking at my body, I started getting these intuitive knowings that I just started asking my body, like, what does it want? What does it need? What next? And I just started getting these ideas. So like, all of a sudden it was like, put on lotion. And I had just bought this, I had this inspiration, a couple of days before that, to buy this really nice like shea butter, like body lotion with like lavender. And so I just like had this really luxurious experience where I just started slowly, like the slowest. I would put on lotion and I didn't realize how much I try to rush putting on lotion. So anyways, I like put on all this lotion and I started just moving it, and then it was like slower. was like, oh my gosh, slower. And so I just like literally was like so slow putting this on. And I was like, wow, this is taking a really long time. But I just went with it. I followed through. And then I actually had my door closed. And then I got this sense that I needed to stand there naked and like open the door and like be seen by my boyfriend. And I didn't realize how much, even though I've been comfortable in my skin and my body, that I didn't want him to see me. And so I was like, okay, this is really not what I want to do, but I opened the door and I let him see me. And it was really funny, he immediately ran over and like gave me a really big hug and like kissed me and was like, hey there. And I didn't even realize like how much I just never allowed for that opportunity. So that was an interesting experience. And then I decided, instead of my normal like podcasts and stuff, I was gonna like listen to good energy music. And then I like was like, oh yeah, I need to take the garbage out. So I literally strutted. I put my headphones in and I like strutted like I was famous or like on a runway or something. And I just danced with the garbage in my hand. I just danced with garbage in my hand, like down the hallway, and then I smiled at nothing. I just smiled. It's amazing, you guys, if you literally did nothing else but held a smile for 17 seconds, your entire energy would change. It's your physiology, everything. It's incredible. So I smiled literally to myself on the walk back. Then I decided to make out with my boyfriend because I was like, well, he already saw me naked this morning and he gave me a kiss, and so I'm going to be able to sensual back. And then I just started also moving slower. I moved really slow around the house. Like, I just was like, okay, so I'm going to go from the kitchen to my desk and I'm going to play a game and see how slow I can walk. And it was really awkward. But I will tell you, so all of that happened. I don't even know how long this all was. Probably like an hour or something as I'm getting ready. And then I started my day. And literally, you couldn't tell me nothing after that. I felt so romanticized by my life. I just felt like I had this different energy because I was like, I just loved on myself so much physically, right? I'd seen myself, I acknowledged myself, I gave love, to my boyfriend, and I gave love to myself first, though. And literally that day, I went and ran errands. I had the most annoyingly exceptional service. Have you guys ever had that, where you're somebody keeps like asking you if you need help? I went to like a few different stores, and literally every single person was like, I felt like they were following me and was like, what can I do for you? And initially I was annoyed, and then I was like, wait, no, of course, this is what I deserve. Like, this is what I kind of drew into my orbit. So I was just laughing so hard because they were really annoyingly helpful. And then like my boyfriend was super lovey that day. 2 of my clients renewed when I didn't think they were going to. I had another person that I never even knew, never even had heard their name before, booked on my calendar and wanted to schedule time with me. This was the most bizarre thing, you guys, the most bizarre. I had, so I'd worked at Amazon, like I stopped working there in 2020, and I randomly got a check in the mail for $88 from them. It was letting me know that I was going to have a check on the way or something. And so I actually called them because I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I'll take it, but I haven't worked for Amazon in a couple years. Like, they don't really owe me anything anymore. So I wasn't trying to argue. I was just like, I just want to make sure this is right. And they were like, oh yeah, we just owe you for your 401k that you never cashed out. I was like, I'm pretty sure I cashed it out. But anyway, so it was just crazy. Like, and then also the best part, you guys, all the creative juices were flowing. And it's the reason that I even created this mastermind. The reason I created this is because of that day. Because my creative juices were flowing. I felt like I wanted to serve in a really fun way that made me feel like I got to express this part of myself, because I know that as women, we don't express this part of ourselves enough. We don't talk about this stuff, but this is the stuff that creates real change. This is what moves me. This is so important, because when you tap into this, when you bring your body in the process, yes, it's a mindset. And tomorrow I'm actually going to dive deeper into some of the mindset of it, right? Because that is important. I don't want to ignore that, right? But when you can bring your body into the process, what happens is you ignite your essence. You ignite your essence and you wake your life up. Like, it makes me emotional. I want to cry right now, because it's your soul. There's so many women right now that are seeking, like, sorry, I wasn't going to cry, but I'm just so moved by this topic because I've seen the power of it in my life. Like, the stuff I'm telling you, the stories, like, I know it sounds goofy and silly, but it was freaking real. It was real. And I'm somebody who has felt like for so long there's been so much like uphill battle. I just couldn't understand why I was in my own way. And this stuff has changed my life. And so to be able to like create something where I can give a little bit to help you guys tap into this yourself, like I know that when you do, like talking about it is great, but trying it out, right? Trying out these exercises, you are going to see amazing impact if you really allow yourself to go for it. Promise you. And so this is what allows you to ignite your essence. When women tell me that they're searching for more fulfillment, more peace, more happiness, they feel like so much is lacking in their life. It is because they've lost touch with their sensuality. They've lost touch with the fact that they're a feminine being. They've lost touch with the fact that we operate different than men. We've lost touch with the fact that your soul needs you. Your essence needs you. That's what's happening here. And so when you can acknowledge your body and you can have full acceptance of all of these pieces, you start to feel worthy, and you start to feel allowed to create the life you want. You start to feel allowed to have, what you deserve. And the funny part is you don't even need to feel allowed. You're allowed. You just get to have it. But we do so much in life to like block things because we just second guess so much, right? Especially, okay, so another thing that happened was when all this stuff started, like that day was like a freaky day. I was like, all this stuff is just working out, right? Everybody just seems to want to hold the door open for me. Like randomly I'm here, like everybody's just great, right? And so part of what came in after that was I started saying, oh, well, it's just a fluke. Or like, oh, I don't, maybe I don't deserve that. Or like, oh, that's probably not real. Or like, oh, it's just today, right? No. What I also want you guys to understand is that you are powerful. Women are so powerful. We're so freaking powerful, and we don't even know it. Don't even know it. You are so powerful. And so I want you to take responsibility for the good things that come into your life too. Everything is a mirror reflecting back part of you to you. So what I want you to understand is that when you are bringing all this amazing stuff into your life, it's because you brought it into your life. You created it. You are powerful, and I need women to remember this. And ways that we can stop second guessing and stop forgetting about this is by showing up in these ways I'm talking about, right? Like just be in more consistently. You got to show up in these ways more consistently, because when you do, the doubt starts to go away a little bit more. You start to be more on your own team. You start to understand the relationship to your emotions a little bit differently. So it takes a little bit of time, right, to really believe, but it's just like anything, right? It's like any muscle that you build, any new habit you're forming, any new programming you're doing for yourself. It takes a little bit of time. So just be patient, give yourself some grace. Let's see. So I think. Oh my gosh, well, I would love to know how you guys are feeling. Is any of this resonating? Is this landing? Please feel free to put your thoughts in the comments. This is, a conversation I'm so passionate about. But that's another thing I wanted to say, right, is that all of this, it's not a one and done thing. My goal on this is not just to give you some tips and tricks to try, right, or some things to consider, right, and just think about for a day. My goal is that you start to make this a lifestyle for yourself. You start to incorporate these things little by little, meeting yourself where you're at, right? I'm not telling you that you have to go from feeling totally stuck to freaking superwoman in a day. That's not realistic, and I just don't even put that pressure on yourself, right? What I'm saying is I want you to little by little understand that the connection to this part of yourself, this feminine being that you are, when you honor her and you do it over and over and over again, your life starts to change. And I want, if you guys started right now and even just tried it out until the end of the year 2023 would start out so incredibly different. You wouldn't even recognize your life by starting this stuff now. Just even pick one of these little things a day to do. It really, true confidence is also about embodying things as just a way of life, right? Queen energy isn't just, I have an affirmation I say to just keep myself feeling great. It's you embody that being, right? You embody that that way of being that you desire to you start to embody who you desire to show up as. you just start tapping into who she is. You start getting curious. Actually, one powerful thing you can do is design her on Pinterest. Design her on Pinterest. Start stepping into, right? Start stepping into, or start getting familiar with like normalizing that, like getting a visual to it, and then start to think like, how would she think? How would she be? What kind of fun things would she incorporate in her daily life to, honor herself and her body and her essence and stuff. And it's amazing when you do this stuff too, you start getting more clarity for how to move to create the more fulfillment in your life. So a lot of people I work with, or a lot of my clients, or just a lot of people I know, want to start businesses and they feel really overwhelmed, they feel really stuck, they don't know what to do, or they start and then it's overwhelming, right? Well, doing stuff like this, building this foundation of confidence, right? And then knowing how to come into this deep self-trust and calm when everything feels really chaotic is going to help you get to those moments of clarity to know how to move faster. This impacts everything. It's not just whether it's you want to have a business, whether you want a greater relationship, whether you want to have more of the body of your dreams, right? It's about getting to a more calm, consistent place within your nervous system and within just feeling just loving who you are in all these ways. And so these are so it's super, super important. And so also what I want to say is creating a new normal, right? It's doing it on your own. It can be one of the hardest things. Being our own accountability can be so hard. Working on this with someone is honestly so important. So whether you have like an accountability partner in life, or you want to hire somebody, like it's just important to remember there's going to be a lot of times where you want to start being this more confident person, and then you can be defeated and you can start second guessing, and maybe you start to feel like because as one thing that happened was I started feeling more confident, and then I started feeling more silly and playful, and then I was like, wait, nobody else around me is really feeling as like playful like this, and like I was like, am I crazy? Maybe I should stop. And I would honestly start to dim my own light again in the process, because I was like, oh, this is different. But what I want you to also remind yourself of is that a more confident person is really a leader. In our world today, especially as women, we don't see a lot of this. We don't experience a lot of confident beings in this world, real confident beings. And so when you see somebody, or when you start to feel more confident, when you start to walk in your power, you start to feel lighter, you start to shed the stresses of the normal stresses of life, because you have a bigger picture for yourself. It can feel like you're the only one. So it's really important to just keep in mind, like, there's going to be mindset battles that come up as you're coming into this too. So this is honestly why I created my program, why I created it's called the Confidence Academy, and I'm so honored to share this with you. And so so this is part of what I wanted to share earlier, this program. I'm so excited. So it starts in January, but I'm onboarding an intimate, small group of women to join now, where we can start now. Like I said, imagine where you could be if you started this today, where your 2023 would start if you started 60 days ahead of time, right? So for anybody that wants to learn more about this, please connect with me. Everything within this session today is just a small piece of what I'm going to be offering in the Confidence Academy, which is an 8-week program. It's a group program, but it's also one-on-one sessions. And anybody that wants to start now and wants to be part of that now, right, you're going to get 2 extra one-on-one sessions with me. Plus, you're going to have me and my energy in your back pocket all the like whenever you need it. And it's so that alone, I'm telling you, will shift gears. I've been a coach and a mentor, yes, professionally for 3 years, but I have been doing mentorship and coaching for almost 20 years. It's insane when I look back at it, almost 20 years. And so it's just in my blood. It's my life force. It's what fuels me. And I want to give as much as I can. So if that's something you're interested in, you want to dive more into sensuality, play, embodiment, surrender, and trusting the process, like for real, right? Not just saying trust the process, like all those Instagram pictures, right? You really want to trust the process. You want to dive into the feminine and the dark feminine aspects. You want to understand all of this, plus some guest speakers. I've got some really cool like human design people coming in and all this good stuff. So if you want to learn more, let me know. I would love to have you guys in there. But past that, otherwise I'll see you guys tomorrow. But I do have a couple assignments for you so that you can put this stuff into practice that I was talking about today. So what I want you to do is one, I want you, we're going big here, right? I want you to, one, look at yourself naked in the mirror, do the appreciation scanning, right? I want you to look at every single body part. And I really want you to acknowledge what can you love yourself for? What can you have appreciation for about every part that you see? I want you to do that. I then also want you to put anywhere from like 1 to maybe 3 songs. 3 songs is a lot, but like ideally like 2, right? I want you to put on a couple songs that match the emotions that you feel. And I want you to ask your body, how does it desire to move? And I want you to give yourself the opportunity to move to some music and just allow yourself to just fully experience your emotions. I want you to just go there. So have fun with those assignments for tonight, and stay tuned for tomorrow for day 2. I'm so excited. We're gonna go even deeper, playing a bit more and really diving into what I like to call the game of confidence, and really how to play it so that you always win. It's gonna be so good. So stay tuned, and thank you guys for joining today. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free, place them in the comments. I would love to answer any questions that you had after kind of listening to the session, or message me. Send me a message. I'll get right back to you. I would love to hear from you and see what's coming up for you on this. Because one thing to know too, and this is the last thing I'll say before I head out, is that as you're listening, just listening to the stuff, what's happening is that, and I said this in an email, but your actual DNA is like recoding itself. These are actually like codes coming through, really allowing you to step into this more embodied version of yourself. So even just by listening, it's really powerful. So with that, what happens is a lot of stuff kind of comes to the surface. We can get a lot of new questions, a lot of new curiosities, a lot of like, I didn't think of that before, or a lot of like, kind of like there can be a little bit of frantic energy sometimes that comes through because stuff is coming to the surface for us to look at. So then we can then step into a greater, more empowered version of ourselves, right? So this is stuff that definitely happens after these kinds of sessions and conversations and things. So if any questions come up for you, reach out, or please feel free to put them in the comments. I'll be checking to see how I can help. But anyways, I love you guys so much, and I'm so grateful to have had you on and to be so open to this conversation, because this is one I was definitely like, I'm so excited to go here with the ladies, but I'm like, woo, this is a lot. This is like, we're going deep in ways that I haven't done in a minute. So, or really like ever on this scale. So I'm honored to have been able to do this with you guys, and sending you all kinds of love, and I will see you tomorrow for day 2.